Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. On my way to 500 subscribers. And today I think we got a pretty good trade for you. It is in the Russell 2000 E-minis. These trades are not that complicated. I have a pretty good string of successful trades that I've made over the past couple of weeks. My portfolio is at about 125% right now. And we're obviously in a down market and I'm taking advantage of it. Nothing fancy here. I pretty much repeat the same trade every day. If you're interested in nibbling at the market and pulling some money out of this downturn as well, I invite you to subscribe, like, and share the video. If you're new around here, my name is Richard, and this is Richard's Trades. So let's get into it. So there we are. And there doesn't really seem to be a lot of momentum to the upside, if any. So we're looking to get into a trade. I'm going to bring up my brackets. And what this does is this will put in a stop loss here if the market goes up to 2044. And the market, I mean the Russell 2000. And it's programmed here to take profits if the market goes down to 2003. Again, that's the Russell. And we're going to watch this. I think it is headed downward. There's not a lot of activity for some reason. This seems to be a very slow trading day. And let me just kind of open these candles up a little bit more so we can see. I'm not seeing a lot of momentum to the upside though. So I think if people get impatient, they're going to start selling this. And the MACD, the red line, is hinting that it's going to be curving down. And I like to see the red line cross the blue line to indicate momentum to the downside. And I think we're about to get that. So I'm going to hop in here. There we are. So we are in this trade, and you can see, if you look up at the top, you can see my profit and loss for the day. We're down about $8. And we're in a state of flux right now. I think this sucker is going down. And we have our profit line just kind of out of the way. I think if we test these levels right here, like in sort of a short-term flash crash, I'd be glad to get out of this. But I'm not seeing that right now. Have a good day. It's my wife. She is in the office already. And we've got our stop loss here. Hopefully we don't get stopped out of this trade. And it looks like I might have entered this trade prematurely. I'm going to move this out of the way. I don't think that there's a lot to celebrate in this market. And I do think we are headed downwards. So just my opinion. I'm a contradictory trader. You can see the upside momentum here is clearly there. And that was set before the market opened. So the market is kind of pointing higher. And we might have to take it on the chin a little bit on this trade for a little while. But I'm going to hold my convictions here as much as I can and see if we can make this trade turn around for us. There, we're kind of headed to the downside. Let's take a look at what the SPY is doing here. Um, so this is headed lower. This is the S&P 500, and this kind of sets the tone for the market sentiment, I think. And although the Russell is 2,000 stocks, hence the Russell 2000, and we're going to stay with this trade for a little bit because I have a feeling this trend is going to turn around, and you can see it kind of right over here what it did yesterday, but that was like 2:30 in the afternoon. So I like to be in and out of these trades in the morning to the extent possible. I don't really like to stay in for more than 1 hour. I think a lot of the activity happens in the first hour, and then there's a drop off, and then the last hour of trading. But I don't hang out at my desk all day to watch this thing. I've got a life to lead and things to do. But, if you're that type of trader, God bless you. I wish you luck in the market. I just think you can overtrade this thing. And in the long run, it will just put you through the meat grinder, I'm just looking to make a quick profit, get in, get out, and don't try to wish my will on the market, make the market bend to my will. It's never going to happen. If any of you traders out there are able to do that, I'd love to know, because I want to learn from you. Wish what the market would do and just, woo, go down, go up. It doesn't happen. The market doesn't do what you want it to do. It has a mind all its own, and it's going to dance around, and a lot of times it will kick you right in the rump. So never play with money that you can't afford to lose. And also keep your bets small so you don't blow up your whole account. You'll notice that I'm not really risking more than $100 on this trade. And if it takes me out, it takes me out. However, I'm going to live to play another day. So if I have to walk away a loser, well, sure, it's going to be disappointing, but there's tomorrow, and you can come back and you can win the game tomorrow. And my thing is, I'm looking to have more winners than losers, right? So that's the way that I play this deal, and it's just the way that I play the market. If you think you're going to stay in the market all day and you're going to be one or two steps ahead of the market and just trade the market based on what you think your will is, you're going to be sadly mistaken. So again, I probably shouldn't have gotten this trade so early, but I only trade the market for the first hour, so this is kind of my time, and I want to trade the market when I'm available to trade it, but sometimes better not to take a trade at all. I jumped into this looking at this upward momentum, and I probably shouldn't have, but I'm thinking based on what's going on in the market and the fact that there's not that much to celebrate right now, that it's headed down because of the negative aspects of what's going on in the market. Now, that's just my opinion. You can have an opinion about it if you listen to the media. Depends on what channel you're listening to. They're going to tell you that tariffs don't affect the market. The other channel says it's going to be devastating for the market. Nobody knows. But looking at the S&P 500, I think that the mood, even though the tariffs really haven't kicked in yet, the mood that it sets, the tone, is just one of extreme caution, and people would rather take their money off the table than let it run and, potentially lose their whole nest egg on this thing. So in a downward market. A lot of people, they're in this thinking that the market only goes up, and I'm never going to argue that point. It depends on your if you have a long-term outlook on the market, which this type of trading that I do is definitely not that type of trading. That's investing. This is day trading. So looks like we are headed upwards still, and I'm looking for a turn in this momentum. And if we don't get it, we're going to be giving back some of our profits from this week, because I'm not going to ride this thing all the way out and just get slaughtered here. I think this thing will turn around. I really do. And it's going to go down. So let's see. Come on. I'm going to wish my will on the market. That's silly. It's silly to think that the market is going to bend to whatever you think it should be doing. But, the kind of the telltale signs is what's going on with the MACD below. The blue line and the red line are separating and heading upwards. So that's a sign of a strong upward move. And I'm going to move that stop loss out and see if that turns around. Because if you look at it right here where it was going up, that's when it kind of started to turn around. And we'll see if we can match that similar type of momentum there. That was yesterday around 3 o'clock. So anyway, we are waiting for this to turn around, and I'm not afraid to lose a little bit of money on a trade. Let's just let it run its course. We are going to let it run its course and be patient. We'll see if this thing will take a turn down here. Now, these candles are long. These candles close up towards the top. These are hammer candles, but are maybe considered somewhat of a hammer candle because the candle is closing above where the halfway point is in the candle. So down here now, this is showing downward momentum, right? And this 5-minute candle now. So I think we might get a pretty good drop here. We're kind of due for it. Let's open this up a little bit more, just for the sake of looking at it. A little more clean point of view. I'm down $34 on this trade right now. If I were to take my stop loss off and just exit the trade. But I have a feeling this is going to turn into a big red long candle. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong many times. The thing is, you have to have the fortitude to ride these things out. And a lot of people don't. They get very emotional on this stuff. They get very emotional and they end up hurting themselves. They end up hurting their account, and they end up making mistakes that they shouldn't make, because you have to be able to take the emotion out of this type of trading, or it's not for you. It's just not. And I think we're seeing this turn around. Again, if you can look at what happened here on the last time it shot up, and then we had this huge downturn there. You see that's a very bearish sign right there, that that candle closed all the way down at the bottom. And I think we are heading downward now. This line I drew here, this is right where the market had opened, or pretty much even for the day. So we're up a couple of points in this index. And when I say the market, I'm referring to the E-mini Russell 2000. That's what I trade. And I'm not focused on any other trading products in the available on this platform, because there's just a lot to do. It's a whole smorgasbord of stuff that you can get wrapped up in: trading options, credit spreads, iron condors, butterflies, iron flies. I mean, there's a lot of places that you can get into trouble, you know. And for me, my trading philosophy tells me that the more I trade, the more opportunity there is to lose money. So I would rather make a little bit of money on a small trade and trade tomorrow than try to knock it out of the park and potentially blow up my account and not be able to trade anymore at all. So I'm trying to stay into this game for the long term. I'm here for the long haul. I've been in the stock market probably since the 1980s, late 1980s. How I got introduced to it was a company that I was working for granted me stock options because they wanted me to stick around. So I did stick around, and obviously because I needed the job, not necessarily because I knew what a stock option was. But in the the years that followed, they would issue me these batches of stock options. And one day I was talking to one of the technicians in the laboratory where I worked, and he said, "Hey, did you cash out any of your stock options yet?" And I said, "No, I haven't. Have you?" And he said, "Yeah, I did. The stock is at $46 right now." And I was like, "So what does that mean?" He said, "Well, how many stock options are they giving you?" I said, "Give me a couple thousand a year." He's like, "Yeah, if you cash that out, that's worth X amount of dollars." So that's what I did. I was like, "What? How does that work?" He gave me a phone number to a broker, and I started talking to the broker, and the guy said, "Yeah, if you cash this out, you'll get X amount of dollars." Well, I did that, and it's funny because that's how I ended up buying the house that I'm living in right now. And, after that, I was basically hooked. I was like, well, let's see, how does this whole stock market thing work? You can really make money from this. And, I got bit by the bug basically at that point. And I was a much younger man back then, but I've had my ups and downs. I've taken my licks through the .com bubble. I mean, the great financial crisis. I mean, see my home lose value and all of that. And, those kinds of things, if you're invested in the market, you have to be able to ride it out long term. It's difficult, for some people. I can tell you a story about my aunt, and God bless her. She retired right around the time of the .com bust, and she had about $250,000 in the early 80s of value in her 401k with all of these tech stocks, and pets.com and different. I think the only one that is still around there's a few, but it's Amazon and a couple of others. But all of those companies, the stocks were flying high and they weren't making any money. And at some point, the emperor has no clothes and people start selling, and the sell-off just never stopped. And she wrote it down all the way down to the bottom, and she watched her account get basically chopped in half by about 60 to 70%, and she was retiring, and she had to go back to work, and it was just sad to see. So taking away Social Security and telling everybody, well, just invest in the market and you'll be fine long term. That might be true depending on where your time horizon is for retirement, because if the market's tanking at the time when you're retired, you're going to be in a world of hurt. So anyway, that's enough of me, preaching about that. But be careful, kids. Anyway, looks like this trade is turning positive here. And let me see. We're looking for a trend line. Looking for a trend line. I don't know if 2 or 3 candles a trend line makes, but you can see the red line is crossing the blue line now, and this thing is heading down. So I'm going to stay in this trade and see what we can pull out of it. It's busting to the downside now, and you can see the indicator popped up, and the momentum is shifting on this. So man, oh man, this one's taken some patience, hasn't it? If you're still with me watching the video, I really appreciate it. Hit the like, subscribe to Richard's Trades trade channel. I'm on my way to 500 subscribers, as I may have mentioned in the beginning of the video, and I'm really trying to make this channel work. I like making YouTube videos. This is part of my just kind of my fun for my retirement. So I'd appreciate it if you'd help me out. And that's enough of that. So anyway, yeah, this trade has just turned into a winner for us. We are about $7 positive, and it looks like it's headed to the downside. So yeah, we got some pretty good momentum going to the downside. And I got out of the trade pretty early yesterday at the beginning when this thing started. The red line started across the blue line on the MACD, just because I wanted to take profits quickly and move on. But, tomorrow's Friday. Let me see. I've been in this trade for about 23 minutes and 20 minutes or so. And I'm going to see where this thing lands. Because right now this indicator is showing me that I need to be in this trade and stay here. So we had a pretty good top. If you look going back, let's see, we set this for 5 days, and let's set this for 1 hour candles. We can see here we were up here pretty high. This is kind of the high point here for the week. It's all the way up here. The CPI number yesterday was announced, and the market jumped up. But look, the Russell 2000. But look, it just dropped. Down like a rock after that. So that tells me people aren't real excited about staying in here. They're not enthusiastic about making money going long in the market. So we're going to go back here. Let's see. Let's go to today. 5-minute candle. There we are. We're in our profit taking zone. I'm just trying to pull $25 minimum out of these trades every day. And I'm going to move my profit taking out right now. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this stop loss down to where I entered the trade. So this will be a free trade now. I'm guaranteed not to lose money in this trade, except for the commissions. Tasty Works, by the way, if you're interested in trading on this platform, I have a link down in the description. And what this allows you to do is set your profit line here and really trade on the chart. Set your stop loss at the top, set your profit line at the bottom, and mark your line where you got in. So I don't think I marked my line where I got in, and I'm going to do that right now. So the MACD indicator is showing the market is still heading down. So, or this Russell 2000. I keep referring to it as the market. I apologize, because this is the only vehicle that I trade. I trade contracts on the Russell 2000 E-minis, and it's just kind of a quick way for me to get in and make a couple bucks and move on with my day. I've been at this now for, I want to say this is my 7th day, and I have if I were to stop right now, about a 25% return on my portfolio in less than 2 weeks. I don't know anybody out there in this market who's getting this kind of a return percentage-wise on their portfolio in this market, unless you're shorting the market like me. So the MACD is showing some aggressive downward movement right now, and I'm going to move this down a little bit. Let's see. We're at about a $44 profit for the day. My goal is 25 bucks, and but the MACD is showing that this is headed downward so aggressively. It's just, it doesn't make a lot of sense to get out of this trade yet. So we see these big moves downward, and these kind of little green bars going up, that's the market kind of just, it's fooling you. It's a hoodwink, Look at the last 20 minutes of the market and where it's going now. So, there's not a lot of stuff to be excited about. Russell 2000 is made up of 2,000 small companies. The index represents 2,000 small companies in America, and some of them are profitable, some of them are not. But with these tariffs the way they are, and I'm going to move this out of the way. A lot of these manufacturers are making their products either outside of the U.S., and if they're making them in the U.S., there's a pretty good chance that the components that they're using in their manufacturing process are imported and subject to tariffs. So whether they're claiming they're manufacturing their products domestically, regardless if they're buying any kind of steel, for example, that's imported, they're going to have to pay a huge tariff on that, and it's really putting the squeeze on a lot of these little companies that they may be trying to achieve profitability right now, and they're not profitable. So it's sad what it's doing, and you can either sit back and agree with it and just watch this thing play out, and if it's inevitable, it is what it is. But why not profit from it the way that I'm doing? So that's kind of what I've decided. I'm not going to let things upset me. I'm going to stay with this type of trade, and I'm going to cash in. So here, this trade is about 50 bucks up right now, and I think I'm going to stay in it. This is, there's no reason to drop out of it if the MACD is showing this type of divergence between the red and the blue line. This thing just keeps falling, and man, this is kind of crazy. Let's look at the S&P 500 and see what's going on over there. And there you go. That kind of tells the story. This is falling off too. You see the blue and the red line divergence there, and there's not a lot to get excited about here. So this may have exhausted. I'm going to move this down to take profits at this candle. The bottom of this candle here, if it goes back up there, I'm going to be out of this trade. We are at $51 right now, $52 on profitability. And it looks like this candle's going negative too. Sure enough. So you just got to be patient. I think the lesson here is just to be patient. Early on in this trade, this thing just about bumped me out of it. And if you watch the beginning of the video, it's easy to get knocked out of this, you know. But now I've got my profit line here, and this profit line is protecting that's my profit stop. That's protecting the money that I'm going to make if it goes back up. And I don't think it is going back up, because based on what the MACD is telling me here, the red line and the blue line are still separated far apart, and these momentum bars are growing to the downside. So that's showing weakness in the market. And I only use the MACD indicator. You know, there's a lot of indicators out there, and you can read them 1,000 different ways till Sunday, and I'm just not into that. Simple is easy. Easy does it. I can do easy. There's a lot of traders out there that use a whole bunch of indicators. You see them on YouTube, and their chart is just lit up like a Christmas tree. They know what the hell it says, I guess. I can't tell by watching their videos, but again, mine is simple. If you look at the line here and the purple bars and the red line, that's the sell indicator. The blue line is crossed, or the red line is crossed over the blue line. We have the momentum pointing downward, and looks like I might get stomped out of this trade, and if I do, I'm going to take my money and move on. So I did. I got a $32 profit today, and I was in the market for about 32 minutes. So I apologize, it's kind of a long video, but that's it for me today. And yeah, I think it was an easy $32. We had a little bit of a challenge going into the trade, but we saw that turned around and we waited. So and it made it a profitable trade. So with that, we're out of here, and have a great day.